Long roads surrounded by rice paddies, pristine nature, and sections of temples that are well maintained and untouched by tourism. Narrow streets with little traffic, hidden waterfalls, and local residential areas next to the main street. That's what Bali is really like. But wait a minute, isn't Bali the most famous hotspot in Indonesia? An island with influencers and about surfing and yoga and tourism and coffee shops? Every time you walk here you can see the people taking photos in front of the coffee shop. Doesn't thousands of people every year travel to Bali to experience this kind of lifestyle and flooding this little island with the tourism? With 6,000 square kilometers, Bali is almost 5 times the size of New York City. It's still an island and relatively small, but it still takes at least 2 hours to travel from south to north, not counting traffic. Within the vast area, you'll find famous spots and sights, and also this lifestyle I talked about before. This is mainly concentrated in the big cities like Canggu and Ubud. It's logical that most of the tourists are going there, and therefore it has a lot of tourism, and therefore it's also influenced by the tourism. One evening, when we have waited for our food order, we talked with a Gojek driver, and he told us about Canggu some years before, how it looked like, how the tradition was, and just how natural the village has been. This motivated us even more to see other parts of Bali. So we rented a new motorbike in Canggu and drove directly to the north of the island, like straight through the island, and our destination was Kintamani. This is the nearest village of the volcano of Bali. But we questioned us, would it be as touristy as in other places of Bali? As on the rest of the island, as everybody, we drove our motorbike on the left side. This tradition dates back to the Dutch colonization. Pay attention, they drive on the left side of the road, so it could be different than in your place you're living. And after an hour with nearly no break, we have seen a sign on the street with the name Nung Nung Waterfall. So we decided to visit this place before we continue. As we'd already experienced by other places, you need to pay the fee entrance, which is about €1, like 21,000 rupees, and it's always for the parking of the motorbike. Besides us, there have been like 2 other couples on the path. Otherwise, we didn't see anybody else going down to this waterfall. The walk takes about 20 minutes and it's worth it every little step. Unlike touristy waterfalls in Bali like Tegenungan waterfall, this one is pristine and therefore actually what we were looking for. This waterfall is one of least 15 waterfalls of Bali, and that doesn't include the unknown waterfall. We talked just about the famous ones. The feeling to go down on the sometimes slippery path through the tropical forest, finally getting on the platform surrounded by plants and facing the roaring water was majestic. The force with which this water came down to the waterfall was completely different from what you expected when it flows into a river, like the other one we showed in our last video. Without the bars and touristy attractions around it, it was now possible to enjoy the nature and admire the waterfall all by ourselves. Onward along the path, we passed clusters of houses, but we haven't seen any more big cities like Canggu on our way to the north. About 4 million people live in Bali. That's 1 million fewer than the entire population of Norway. And all of these peoples are across the 6,000 square meters of this island. Most people are concentrated in the cities, which is why many places like the ones we passed now lived like nobody, or have been very small, like villages, and considered more family-based businesses. And when people talk about Bali, it's clear that they only talk about the big cities. When we arrived in Kintamani, we recognized it immediately. The streets become more familiar, markets, stalls appeared on both sides, and then we began to understand this is really a town like we thought it would be on Bali, without tourists, because at this moment we have been literally the only tourists at the street. This was a totally different experience. Here it was simpler and more authentic. We didn't even see any gojeks, which means a lot. But the best part of Kintamani came as we rounded the bend, Gunung Batu of Bali. This active volcano is very popular for tourists and also for everybody who lives on the island. Before, tourism here has been huge, which is why many restaurants and hotels are here. But now the people use it more like a day trip to come here, and that's why many places closed and stay there like a ruin, unused and just left on the street. Even the climate in Kintamani has changed completely. It's cold, you need a jacket and you need long trousers. And the reason is because Kintamani is located on 1,400 meters. So it's necessary that you have thicker clothes. Our day journey ended here in Kintamani, but now we have a clearer understanding. Bali is a touristy island with many hotspots, which are beautiful to see and to experience. But you only truly see Bali once you've explored other places. And although Kintamani now also seems to be touristy, after just one day there where we have been spoken with locals and also nearly have not seen any tourists, we can say it's different. And we didn't expect it what happened the next day.